Hello everybody, how's everyone day? Ame Gakita. Alright, today I'm just gonna discuss a few points about the Halloween in Japan for this year. I mean, like, a lot of people will be aware of how Halloween have been always been a thing in Shibuya in Japan. But the thing is, right, that seemingly to be like no eventful event, which a lot of people is like, oh, there's still people going to Japan or people in Japan wearing costume and dressing up for Halloween and just kind of celebrate during the weekend or maybe the day itself. But what you guys have to understand that the seemingly uneventful Halloween this year it's kind of like saying along the line like, yes, it may seem that way, but there's quite a few things that you guys might want to know in regards to behind the scene. So in regard, we will be following quite a few situations for now, and at the same time kind of like want to share with you guys a few stuff. So the thing is, right, what you guys need to understand that security for Halloween in this year's Shibuya is actually more tighter than you guys might think. A thing that we'll share and kind of point out is that one of the famous statue of Hachiko dog statue in Japan had actually been kind of like closed off. Most people will tend to take a photo with it, but what you guys have to understand that the reason why the place is considered not a revenue for event has been indicating along the line of like, oh, they can't have such an event in that area now. It used to be part of people just hang around there or people knowing that the place is around. Even though the place of the statue is actually right in front of the Shibuya and the Shibuya station entrance, which means that even the Shibuya station itself is also closed off for the event, which last year or the year prior before has always been one of the go-through place for many people who is love to hang out for Halloween. So what a lot of people need to understand that the event this situation, like a lot of people is like saying like, oh, there seems to be like a lot of white paper indicating you should or even the so-called the white curtain concealing the black statue, as well as people going around telling them to be careful. It's like a lot of people say like, oh, why have this happened? Well, there's quite a few things that caused the so-called close out for the event, but at the same time still having the event despite. So it's more towards the point that people want to have the event and the government or people just say, or the police just say, oh yes you can, but in a confined place, which means that you only at a specific small area in Shibuya that people can go. But at the same time, what you have to understand is that there's also kind of like a campaign where they actually did along the line of saying like, no, please don't go to Shibuya for the Halloween event. Like even the Shibuya district raised the alarm against unruly Halloween. It's that they want people to have event at Shibuya. They want to have it to be a fun event and enjoyable. But because of what happened last year, which I will talk about that in a while, is that they decided to tighten the security and make it kind of like to many people like less enjoyable. The thing is, right, a lot of people say like, oh, it's considered like how it's actually kind of like torn between two group of people in Japan. What you guys have to understand is that this statement is pro and is con. It's gonna it's very funny to in my side is that like I always say, there is always a balance to many things, and in this situation it's not wrong to say that it's sad that this is happening, but to me, I can understand why tight security is important. All the reason why you guys have to understand that last year in 2022 in South Korea, there is something what we call the Halloween crowd crush, which happened sadly in South Korea. This had caused around up to a nearly 160 people death, and it's already 1 year, which means that this situation, if happened in Japan, would have mean a whole new different story. The thing is, right, because this was kind of like inspired from not from the Western side where they say, oh, Halloween is from the Western, so Western have that. If you go to Western, well, from what I know, I don't seen people going to like a Pacific place, dress up and just go around and celebrate like what Japan did in Shibuya. The Halloween in Shibuya had always been a place where most young adult or people or even people who love to dress up or as cosplay or as zombie or whatsoever, just going to to Shibuya, Japan, and just kind of like hang out with other people or have fun. It was just kind of like a small event initially started in Shibuya where people just wear a zombie, or cosplay, and then walk around Shibuya. But because the event was such a huge and it attract more people just take it as a norm in Shibuya where people just dress out and hang out in Shibuya during Halloween. But because South Korea also decided to have their own approach on Halloween, it actually caused like there was no proper security for that, despite Japan having their own. Like Japan actually invest in it. Like they actually kind of did along the line of like investing in security, like police going down like every year to ensure that thing went smoothly. But at the same time, it doesn't mean 100%. It's just that in Japan, the so-called disaster, which caused up to 100, nearly to 160 people die and up to nearing 200 people injured, it actually caused a lot of people to rethink about Halloween street celebration in this case, and Japan is not getting the like so-called people, because the thing is, right, you gotta have to understand that in Japan, the behavior between South Korean people and Japan is very similar and different at the same time. And in this case, I know people are gonna bash me for it, but behavior from how I look at how South Korean people react and how Japan people as a normal human being is that in Japan, although I'm not saying that there is no rowdy people in Japan, there are also people who is willing to be very careful, and they have natural disaster. They all know how to handle things carefully. That's the reason why Japan Halloween has always been, not saying like there's no unrowdy thing, which I will talk about a few of them in a while, but it's more towards the point that they are able to move peacefully. But in South Korea, the situation went badly, and because there was like everyone was actually blocking the road for police to go through, many people who were crushed to death or injured and not having to wait for them to heal. And the reason why it got up to 160 is that there was much more people who were able to be saved, but end up because of other people blocking the road for the emergency ambulance to reach the injured. Those injured end up dying. And that is one of the reasons why the South Korea situation went badly. And because of such case study, Japan decided to stop against such like a lot of people have been kind of like saying like Shibuya at Halloween has always been one of the main attraction, but at the same time there's also people actually going around to stop such thing from happening. I'm not like, the thing is, right, like this mentioned, like the article mentioned, like the pandemic had caused a disaster similar to last year's fatal crowd crush in South Korea. So it's like people in Japan want to have such a thing to happen, but the thing is, right, because of what happened in South Korea, people was like, yeah, should we have such a thing? So a lot of people actually went along the line, like, if like they discourage people from happening Halloween street celebration in Shibuya. And even one people actually mentioned along the line, like, I think it's a good that the mayor is saying don't come to Shibuya. Like I mentioned, Shibuya has a why Shibuya? Why people always celebrate in Shibuya? Why not at Akihabara? Why not at Osaka? Why not at other places? What you guys have to understand, the reason why Shibuya has always been the mainstay for Halloween is that the group of people who started out in the Halloween Shibuya street world was actually a group of young people or cosplayer and dressing up for Halloween, and they just walk along the street of Shibuya, and that's how it kind of like started. So a lot of people kind of like think, because it became, like mentioned again, it became a main attraction, and a lot of people just kind of like follow it around, and it became so rowdy that some other people who joined the event, either they drink alcohol or they just create trouble or vandalize, or even like, again, sadly, some foreigner people do go to Japan and kind of like take it as a moment to vandalize or think that it's fine to do all those things, even though it's not allowed to. So if you're a lot of people say, oh, maybe because it's the foreigner people. No, the thing is, it's not just foreigner. Japanese people causing unruly behavior is also one of the reason. So for all the foreigner thinking that it's all game foreigner or whatever, don't worry, it's not just foreigner, but it does not mean that foreigner does not play a bad impression in this Halloween period. So I hope you guys can understand. But what you guys have to understand that there is a significant increase to the crowd of foreign tourists. So it kind of causes a lot of people to be afraid of it at the same time. So it doesn't mean that people, because the thing is, right, during the pandemic period, people, like, there was not much foreign tourists, but right now, because of opening up where people can visit Japan freely now, the situation of in a case is more towards the point of, like, people are like the situation with Johnny Somali and Fidia. It caused a lot of people to be like hateful or fearful of foreign theories. So it does. And considering that it's also quite unrowdy to always foreign theory, it can, there are people who are trying to like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't open up this kind of event, or people who don't want to go, it's just because they're afraid of many reasons, not just foreign theory. So it's like a lot of people, like, even for me, it's like, it's sad to hear people are just gonna use foreign theories as one of the reasons. So I'm not saying that it's a bad thing for like, if people want to celebrate. It's just that I mean, like, what you guys have to understand that although not shown in the news article, there are foreign theory that is still enjoying as long as they behave. What you guys have to understand is that as long as you behave, show respect to the culture, as well as learning a little bit of Japanese, it is fine. But what is the thing you guys have to understand that why I say this event have been so so-called uneventful is that the mayor himself had kind of asked supermarket or convenience store to prevent the sales of alcohol. I have always been saying a lot of lines that alcohol can cause people to act like rowdily or doing stupid things. And in this case, although a lot of people wish to celebrate by drinking, what you guys need to know is that such act is really something, one of the reasons why people in Singapore always say that the like, just like, kind of like justified that the beer tax or the alcohol tax in Singapore is one of the reasons why a lot of people in Singapore don't drink alcohol. It's just that it's too expensive. So to prevent it's more towards the point of, like, trying to prevent people from having this kind of, like, oh, we are going to have a celebration, we are not going to drink alcohol. So the thing is, right, a lot of people in Japan love to drink alcohol, and like I mentioned, alcohol in Japan is like almost the same price as soft drinks or carbonated drink or whatever drink. So it's more to a lot of people like, oh, we're gonna buy a lot of alcohol. But the thing is, right, in all the supermarket, and a lot of people need to understand that alcohol always have been one of the mainstay or one of the main income for most supermarket and super convenience store during the Halloween. But because of what happened in South Korea, as well as rowdy people, the law had actually kind of like trying to tell people in or more towards the store themselves to prevent the sales of those alcohol. So the thing is, right, it's not just that alone. Apparently Burger King in Shibuya is closed on Halloween, which means that they say that they the central Shibuya store is closed on the day itself. So the Halloween is supposed to be today. I'm not sure if people kind of come along the day, but the thing is, right, on Halloween tend to be celebrated during the weekend, where the weekend Saturday 28 and Sunday 29, a lot of people tend to go because it's it's a weekend, it's a rest day, people just gonna celebrate, and people tend to go, and it's seemingly less eventful and eventful, like not much happening during the period. But it doesn't mean that there is no such thing happening. It's just maybe just the news doesn't want to cover it, or you can just go and search it out on Twitter, I don't know. But the thing is, right, if store like this is also going to the point of saying that they are not going to open, you can just see how strong this South Korean Halloween crowd crush had caused how like fear in Japan itself. So I know a lot of people are saying, like, along the line, like, oh, maybe foreign theory is one of the factors. In fact, it's not just that. There are many factors that causing, like, South Korean crowd crush or rowdy people who became so rowdy after they're drinking alcohol that caused a lot of event to happen in Japan, how Shibuya, and people talking about talking about the line of yeah, should we actually close out the event? The thing is, right, like I mentioned, it had been a way to be the main attraction of the Shibuya Halloween, so it is they can't remove it entirely now. So it's just that the enforcement of the security kind of like make it less enjoyable for most people, but at the same time, does not mean that it's not gonna be a mainstay. I believe it's still gonna be there's still gonna be a few nice improvement required, but it just depends on how people look at it, and it's more towards the point of like if people gonna enjoy it, yeah, hopefully they'll enjoy it. But if don't, well, we have to see how they're gonna enjoy it. And to me, I think that is a good thing, but at the same time, you guys have to understand that to me, why I say like uneventful event tend to be the best event is that it means that there is nothing big happening. There's nothing happening in the bad way. Because what you guys have to understand that news tend to spread faster when bad things happen. And this situation, I think that no news mean good news to me, and that the security, like I have to say, it does its job of preventing such thing from happening. And I hope that this can be a case study for many countries if they want to have such a thing on Shibuya Street Walk of Halloween. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. Considering that today, at the time of this recording is, or the time of this upload is more towards that there is not much happening. But I might cover about more on it if there is something on. But hopefully I really pray for. Personally, to me, like no such thing happen because no event tend to be the best event. Like that's how I think. But in any case, I know it's a little bit heavy. Don't worry, my voice can go heavy. Not my wife. I don't have a wife. Oh well, what the hell am I saying? Well, anyway, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe. And I mean, like, just press the like button. You know, the button, is it shiny or not? I don't know. But if you see it shiny, just press the like button. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe too for more random chat where I don't talk about a main topic, but at the same time, we'll talk about more other topic next time in maybe the next video. I don't know. And have a nice day or night. Bye.